Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into a format we haven't visited in quite a while. It's actually going to be Standard Brawl, and today's commander of choice is going to be Illuna, Apex of Wishes, I believe it's called. Yeah, Apex of Wishes. A 5-mana 6/6 with Flying and Trample, Flample. Whenever this creature mutates, you exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield or into your hand. So essentially it's going to draw you a card or put it into play if you like the card enough for the most part. So we got lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff in here that we can really lovely hit on Illuna. Things like Cura Besta Sea God and Embercleave. Entering, mutating and attaching to Illuna is disturbingly good. It is in general a mutate list as well, so we got plenty of other creatures in here that do benefit from being mutated onto. That is primarily what we're going to be doing with Illuna, using the mutate of 6 here to attach it to an already mutated creature, most likely. So we've got things like Essence Symbiote, which puts a counter on a creature and gains 2 life when it mutates. Polywog Symbiote, which draws and discards whenever something mutates. We got lots and lots of mana dorks as well, which you can attach to. Plenty of 2-drops is kind of what we want to be aiming for here, because in our 3-drop slot and our 4-drop slot are a lot of our turn 3 and 4 plays that really do benefit from a 2-mana play. So we've got things like Sea Dasher Octopus, one of the few things that can benefit from our turn 1 Stonecoil Serpent or Gilded Goose, for example. Draws as a card whenever it gets into combat with your opponent's face. We do have Trumpeting Gnar, which is a little bit more expensive than you'd like. It's most likely going to be one of those cards you play down as the 3-mana 3/3 and mutate onto it. Crystalline Giant is a really, really cool mutate target, so every single combat it gains a new counter. Those could be Flying, First Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, or Vigilance, or a 1/1 counter. We do have plenty of ways of putting counters onto Crystalline Giant, so we can bypass that one a little bit and increase the odds, but for the most part, it's just going to be something that can make something like Illuna more and more powerful. It does still get its Flying and Trample counters, because it doesn't count keywords already on the card, for example. It cares specifically about the keyword counters, so keep that in mind. We have Parcel Beast. This is a really good mutate on turn 2, because on turn 3 then you get to look at the top card of your library and basically start drawing cards off of it every turn, which is really nice, and ramping. It's like a Coiling Oracle, I guess, in a weird way. Great Horn, probably one of the best creatures to mutate with. This one will help you search up your basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then allow you to play your bigger things, because we do want to get to Illuna as early as possible. Auspicious Starix is very fun as well. When this mutates, you exile the cards from the top of your library until you exile X permanent cards, where X is the number of times this creature has mutated, and then you put those permanent cards onto the battlefield. One really fun thing you can do with things like Auspicious Starix is you can mutate them onto Scoot Swarm, everybody's most hated but lovable bug. 3-mana 1/1 with Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you make a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, you create a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. So if you use Scoot Swarm and you actually mutate onto it, that Landfall trigger creates a copy of Scoot Swarm. However, if you have something like an Auspicious Starix mutated onto the Scoot Swarm, and it's on top, naming itself as Auspicious Starix, when a land enters the battlefield with Scoot Swarm, it actually makes a 6/6, plus whatever else that creature has that's mutated onto it as well. It has all the keywords, essentially, which is really nice. So a landfall making a 6/6 is pretty dirty. Dirty indeed. We got a little bit of Beanstalk Giant as a little bit of ramp, and as a finale, we've got a Genesis Ultimatum to look at the top 5 cards of our library, put any number of permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield, and put the rest into your hand, and then you exile it. It's not going to be the be-all and end-all win condition of all time with this one, unlike it is in things like Standard, where it's just unbelievably busted, hits like 3 Terror of the Peaks, and you just win, because reasons. This one's just going to be a nice value Genesis Ultimatum, which is the sweet spot. It's where I appreciate this card the most, where it doesn't just win on the spot, and you're like, oh, wow, good game, I guess. We do have Mythos of Illuna in here, playing off the Illuna. Makes copies of permanents, and if you actually pay the red and the green, then you can use that to make the permanent, if it's a creature, fight another creature you don't control. So you can copy your opponent's things if you really want to. I think we do that a few times in today's video, because it's quite useful. Taking your opponent's permanents, taking their win cons, is very useful. So if your opponent, for example, did something like Ugin -5 or whatever, then you can copy their Ugin and tick up on their Ugin, and then suddenly you're in the driver's seat and you make them feel bad for playing that degenerate awful card that shouldn't be in Brawl, Standard, or any other format for that matter. Anyway, that's going to do it for the deck tech portion. If you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get to it. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we're in. On the play, we have 2-lander with Lotus Cobra, so any land really just kind of makes this entire hand explode, so we're going to go for it. Drop down our forest and pass the turn. So we've got 2 turns to find a land, which is nice. And there it is, fantastic. And play the command tower, play the Lotus Cobra, pass the turn. Our opponent is playing Yasharn, Implaceable Earth. 4 mana for a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you get a forest and a plains card into your hand. Basic. And players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. I really don't know how relevant that is, but we'll figure it out. Alright, so from here, can we chain together with the Great Horn? Great Horn costs us 3, so that leaves us with 2. Not really doing anything off of that. We could pay the 2 here for Beanstalk Giant. I think that would work, right? Yeah, that would work. Beanstalk Giant, grab us an island. Lotus Cobra can grab us a forest. And then from there, I think we'll go with a Rada. There's a land on top. Okay. Not a bad start, for sure. And here comes Yasharn. So paying life or sacrificing non-land permanents. It's such a hard one to figure out how that affects our deck, to be honest. I'm not sure it does, which is fortunate. Okay, so I'm going to go with Riverglide Pathway. We'll do it on... I don't think it really matters either way. We'll go red. We know there's an Arcane Signet on top, so if we were to Illuna, that's all we'd get. We can do better than that. We'll go with green. We will, I think, Great Horn now. Great Horn, the Lotus Cobra. I almost want to put it underneath, just so that we don't get ECD'd, to be honest. As weird as that sounds. Maybe it's not so weird. I actually think that's probably for the best. We'll go green. Produce green. And then I think we'll play Questing Beast and maybe trade with Yasharn. Yeah, let's trade with Yasharn. Leave the rest around. Depends on how useful they think that their commander is. I would imagine it's not actually that useful, so they do kind of benefit from the trade we made there, but part of me wonders if they're running ECD, and if they are... Oh, they got shot at the sky instead. Kind of sets us back a little bit. We can play Illuna out, though, and then Dasher Octopus it later, now that they got rid of their board wipe. We'll give that a shot. So it costs us 5 to get it out. So that's a 3, 4, 5. And then if they kill it, we've got the command attacks already covered on Illuna. My thinking is that we actually go for Sea Dasher Octopus, just to mutate Illuna here. See if we can find something nice. Well, we got the ram through for the Gargaroth. And an Ember Cleave, wow. So let's first go for Sea Dash or Octopus on Illuna. See if it provides us with an answer to Gargaroth on its own. Put that card onto the battlefield. Yeah, I don't really think I have to. We can set our opponent back with that, actually, if we really wanted to. Or I could just ram through and go for it. I kind of think that's okay. So, damage to Gargaroth. Get swinging. And because we didn't put the Borrower in play, we've got the Petty Theft to use as a bounce if we really want to. And we're so close to actually winning the game now that we've got Ember Cleave as well. There's Scoot Swarm. So, I don't think this particularly matters. We could bounce it, but, like, is it doing anything? They basically, in response, would flicker the Fable Passage. They'd get a couple less Scoot Swarms. I think I'm better using this as removal for the follow-up play, to be honest, rather than cutting out a few Scoot Swarms. I could also get rid of this token version as well, but again, I don't think it really matters when we're Ember Cleaving our opponent here. Unless we're not. Unless we ain't. Felidar Retreat, yeah. See, that just looks like a much nicer Brazen Borrower. Alright, from here, I would like to go Uro first, see if we can find a Mutator. Glasspool Mimic. Doesn't really do too much for me there. We will Ember Cleave, though, and hit our opponent for 14. Drawing 2 cards. Beautiful. And a Shatterskull Smashing, which this only divides 2 target creatures, but we might want to use that for next turn. I even don't know if we want to do the Glasspool Mimic as a land, to be honest. I kind of think we don't. So the Smashing can be removal for flying creatures if they have them, which they're going to need, or reaching creatures as well. They can potentially do a lot of damage here, but they've got to do 30, so I don't expect that's actually likely to happen. Ooh, Kabira Takedown. Damn. Okay, well, we got Clothis. So if I went with Cura Best of Sea Gods and I don't die, I have the 8/8, which I can Ember Cleave up for the win. Only leaves me with 1 mana. 2 if I bolt myself, but I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. 22. So I'm blocking on 1. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Could be dead. We could be dead. I wonder if it's actually Uro, though, because if they don't have the answer to Uro, I can also Ember Cleave, but it gives me a little bit more life. I'm not sure if the math really works out for a land drop here. They also have Crawling Barrens as well. Could do this X4, that leaves me with 2 mana. I'm just going to go Cura Best Sea God. I don't know. I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of. We'll play this tapped and then... They've already played their Fabled Passage, so there's no double land drop unless they have Evolving Wilds. Oof. We're at 1! Oh my god! Tap all your stuff. Let's get in. Oh wow. I guess I probably should have gone with Uro then, just to make that a little bit closer, but I guess my thought process was essentially the only thing that they could do to... Actually, could they have Crawling Barons? They played the Pathway, suited everything up, and then they went with an Amiria's Call instead. Oh, well... No, well, they were only doing the thing for indestructibility, I'm assuming. I really don't know. I probably should have gone with the Uro. Honestly, I can't remember what they were doing last turn as to whether or not Crawling Barons would have been lethal, but I'm pretty sure it was. And they missed lethal. I'll look back at the footage anyway. Who knows? Either way, GG. Alright. Got turn 2 Symbiote. Turn 3 Crystalline Giant. We can copy something with Mythos of Illuna. I like this hand. It's not the greatest hand in the world, but it's mine. And it casts my spells. Our opponent's on Phylath World Sculptor, a 6-mana 5/5 that enters the battlefield and creates a number of 0/1 plant creature tokens equal to the basic lands you control. I'm just going to go with the Symbiote. Getting the Fable Passage there is quite nice, actually. It doesn't allow us necessarily to go with the Mythos of Illuna anytime soon, but we can work towards it. I'll go with double green here. Play the Crystalline Giant for that combat trigger. Got the counter to play around 3 damage burn spells, which is quite nice. Dryad. Doesn't really benefit us too much from bouncing that, since our opponent has no lands in hand right now. But we can grab a blue here. We can actually copy their Phylath, and it would be pretty decent as well, just to fight theirs off with it. So we'll go with another blue. See what Crystalline Giant reveals. Trample, okay. Well, we can get in. Yeah, unless they played something like Rada here, Dryad has already done its job. Or Cultivate as well would get them 2 lands for 3 mana. I'd want to bounce in response to something like that to slow them down. Migratory Greathorn. So I could just give them a 3/4 by bouncing with Brazen Borrower. I think they need the lands more than they need the 3/4 right now, so I'm just going to make sure that Mutate trigger doesn't go off. How much is this to mutate? 6. We have a Migratory Greathorn. So I think we're going to be mutating up this Crystalline Giant. It's a little bit sketchy, but with our opponent's removal mostly being fight or burn based, I think we can make this Crystalline Giant too big for them to deal with, and it's better off as an over. We'll grab, at this point, I guess another red source, so we can hardcast Shatterskull Smashing if we want. Let's see what Greathorn gets us. Hexproof. Oh, this game's over. That's basically all we needed. Can I make my land drop here? I can. Do I need to? No. No, I do not. Alright, well I won't then. Greathorn will get us all the lands we need anyway at this point. There's a Scoot Swarm. They didn't have a land though, so... yeah, well, they had maybe the Turn Timber. Ooh. Okay, so they're gonna try and Scoot Swarm us real quick. It's a bit late for us to do anything about it, so we're now in race mode. And I think we're just gonna straight up Illuna the Greathorn. Over, please. He gets a counter. So it'd be a 9/9, I think, swinging over, getting us a basic land, as well as getting another counter of some type that we don't already have. It would be basically... Well, we'd have had enough words on it to make it Questing Beast, basically, so, like, nearly a dictionary's worth. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then after that, if we wanted to, we could make a token that fights or something that's nonsense-related like that as well. I think our opponent can't really win from there. Good stuff. Interesting. It is the Illuna mirror. And I think what this one's going to come down to is who has the best start. We're on the play, so we have that advantage. However, we don't have any green mana in our otherwise very nice looking hand. So I'm going to have to hit that free mull and try for something better. This isn't much better. This really isn't better. So what are we doing here? We're soul searing on 3. That's basically it. I'm going to have to take another mull. Okay, Crystalline Giant with a Migratory Greathorn into a Genesis Ultimatum. That's a curve I can get behind. And I think we're going down the Seagate Restoration here, and we're going to grab a mountain with this Fabled Passage. I guess it's possible we should have gone with the Garenbrig first, since that's a tap land, and, you know, might need the green on turn 2. May have been a sequencing error of sorts. Well, no punishment necessary. Got a Scoot Swarm, which is really nice. Can mutate onto that, maybe. I think mutating Crystalline Giant's really what I want to do, though. We certainly want to get it out now, I think. Try and get hexproof on it before our opponent can find removal. Lifelink. Okay. Our opponent's pause makes me think that they might have removal for it. But based on the counter it gets, they might may or may not want to use it. It's an Uro. Pretty good, pretty good. So to keep up, we're going to have to make our land drops quite consistently. We do have the Greathorn to do some of that work. This is tapped as well, though. And this needs 6 or more lands. So yeah, I think we're going to mutate straight away on the Crystalline Giant. I'm going to go over. The reason being is I don't want... let's see... more green, I think. We don't want to open ourselves up to burn spells, so if we can get that extra toughness, it makes it a little bit easier for us to live. We're almost at Scoot Swarm level as well. If we draw a land off the top, we will go Scoot Swarm land. Might just win off of that alone. Ooh, Fires of Invention for them. Really allows them to do a lot with their turn and maybe turn the tides here. Just going to play an Illuna. We draw like garbage, which was one of the worries we had. Could go Caryatid Scoot Swarm. I think that's probably for the best. We can't Ember Cleave. We could play Illuna as well, but I want to mutate Illuna on 6 mana. Let's just play the boys out. Got Trample. It does have Menace, so opponent can't block. Get in for the damage while we can. Best draw for us is maybe just another land, to be honest. The sooner we can get Scoot Swarm swarming, the better. Specifically a mountain as well, so we could Ember Cleave and Genesis Ultimatum later. I guess we got the Elysian Caryatid, but... Ooh, that's really bad. So that means that Illuna can get in and make a 6/6 token. Yep. I'll take 6/6 trampling tokens over Scoot Swarms. What? 5 cards of your library, reveal a creature from among them and put it into your hand. Oh, I remember this card. I actually think it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. So you either get the creature you want or you draw a card. Archipelago. So I'm gonna Starix up the Scoot Swarm here, I think, because if we hit a land, then we get to pop off. We could also Starix up the Great Horn, though. That would guarantee us a land, but it would only make 1/1s instead of the 6/6s that this can potentially make. Fab. Scorching Dragonfire, a little bit late. Got First Strike. We need Death Touch on that before that's useful. And our opponent can block it, so not great. Okay. So now whenever we play lands, we make 6/6s. So any ramp spell is now good. If we could resolve a Genesis Ultimatum, we probably win. We are taking a hell of a lot of damage here. Archipelago taps down our board. And if they had a hasty creature to follow up with, we're just dead. So we don't want to see something like Questing Beast. Opponent's definitely got the upper hand. Quite significantly, unfortunately. Yeah, that was a Thorn Mammoth. Fights my Starix token. At the very least, it trades. But we're taking 19 here, and it doesn't even trade. Yeah. Okay, I mean, we take the damage. We just hope that whatever we draw is good enough. They've got a 19/19 that now fights, and I just don't know what could be good enough, because that is the very definition of always had it. Never didn't have it. We drew a land as well. The wrong land. But a land nonetheless. We'll go with the Genesis Ultimate and we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's all garbage. Alright, well, next game. Oh, good lord. There's no way this is going to be fun. This hand's keepable, though. So we're going to. Thrix, the Sudden Storm. 5 mana, 4/5. Spells you cast with converted mana cost 5 or greater, cost 1 less to cast, and can't be countered. Somehow I kind of feel like this is mono blue tempo, to be honest, so yay. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's like big blue and it's cool. Who knows? That being said, I know as well as anyone mono blue, the only way it has to defend itself is every single counter spell under the sun, with bounce spells in case they don't have a counter at any given time. So we're going to have to play with that in mind, under the assumption that everything gets Brazen Borrowed and or countered. We'll lead with the Maraleaf Pixie for now. And then watch it get bounced. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just a mana dork to them, but yeah, I kind of figured. And substantiate. Oh dear. Land go. A staple of mono blue. Maraleaf Pixie. Could bolt in to play around Draw Disruption, but it's not the counterspell we need to be worried about. Could play a 1/1. Doesn't exactly do much for me, though. Considering it cost me 3 life to get it out there. Yeah, I'm just going to play the Reborn and then pass. Hypnotic Sprite. 2 mana open. So I could go for an Uro here. Uro is a card I really don't care if it gets countered, because it's kind of just a repeatable annoyance for our opponent. Excuse me. Scoot Swarm's not at Scoot Swarm go wide territory yet, so Don't really care for that too much. Why, but my throat is very much clogged right now. Ooh, Destiny Spinner is really, really good. We will get a green land here, because then we can pay for Uro. Play a 1/1 Stonecoil Serpent for mutating onto. We even got Mythos of Illuna, so we can copy our opponent's Thrix or something like that. It does have Flash, and this is sorcery. Yeah, I don't care too much about that. I'll be blocking a Thrix with all this mana. So again, anything I play here is going to get countered. I could just Mythos as a land drop. That won't get countered necessarily. Let's just hard cast Gemrazor. And pass. So Thrix comes in. The only reason hard casting Gemrazor there might not really be all that great is because they might have Cure Our Best to Sea God. I don't think they realized Gemrazor had reach, or maybe they've got bounce spells. I'd love for them to tap out regardless. They're in Sublime Epiphany territory, so they can do a lot with what they have right here. Sure, totally fine. Temple. Copy you. Pay. If this resolves, I get to fight the Hypnotic Sprite. It didn't. I'm so surprised. We'll get rid of the Arcane Signet. It's not doing me any good here. And pass. 3 cards to my 5. One of them's a Maze Mind Tome to dig for more counter spells. Two, three, 4. Let's go Destiny Spinner. This makes it really difficult on them and forces them to use a counterspell. And then from there I can play Scoot Swarm Land. And then we be swarming. Probably even want to just play a 1/1 Stonecoil here. We can trade off with the 2/1. We need to preserve our life total at least to a certain extent. So, Scoots should probably win me this game if we draw enough lands at the right time. We've already played our Fabled Passage, haven't we? Yeah. So, trade off there. We do have an Uro as well. Let's go in straight with the Scoot Swarm targets now. It's probably Uro, because we can potentially swarm again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do have Ballad Ged Recovery in the deck, right? Oh, no, I don't. Okay, so I don't think my graveyard matters at all. Just submit on whatever, then. Can pay for, like, mystical disputes and whatnot with this. So we're getting some life. Gilded Goose is fine. I'll get in here. They could have a flash creature, but if they do, I've still got 3 Scoots left anyway, and that honestly is enough to win me this game. And this is pretty much how I expect most Mono Blue matchups to go. You essentially just run them out of counters, and then they flail and do nothing. So they hit me for 4. I'm going to be gaining 3 on my attack. There's a Clothis, which is a pretty hard to deal with threat. I'm going all in. Didn't have a flash creature before, they probably don't now. I'm going to play like these 3 out. I'm in no rush to play my good cards. Yeah. See, this is what they're resigning themselves to. So now I could actually mutate an Illuna if I wanted to. I think I will. We'll mutate onto... It kind of probably wants to be Uro. Weirdly enough, because I'm going to Legend Rule my Scoot Swarms. If I put this over. So I'm just going to kind of put this under and just get a counterspell out of our opponent's hand if that's what it takes. Brazen Borrow. Oh, no. Okay, well, at least I have a 6/6 that's blocking Thrix. So there's that. Again, another annoyance, because now I can potentially get some land drops for Scoot Swarm. Yeah, I didn't think so. Poliwag Symbiote. So we'll start with Uro, I think. I guess we'll start with Lotus Cobra. So Lotus Cobra can generate me some mana. Even if this gets countered, we got Poliwag Symbiote to follow up with after that as well. Not ideal. Do I even attack? Probably, because... well, Thrix has a pretty decent block on my Scoot Swarms. I could go for a Scorching Dragonfire on the Great Shark, which trades off with the Scoot, though. I'll just get in with Illuna for now. We'll hold up and Dragonfire. Yeah, if they want to do that, that's fine. Fair enough. So they want to try and generate some tempo here. On their turn, I'm going to make them use a counter spell. I'm going to try and get rid of Brazen Borrower. Miscast, wow. The lows that you have to dive down to in mono blue for standard. Look at that. Okay, how much are you comfortable attacking me with? Got 4 cards in the yard as well, so even getting this countered is actually just fuel for Uro. Again, it's only a matter of time until Scoot Swarms just pop off anyway. Let's try and hit Illuna here. Rewind. Sure. Let's get Clothis out. Still got more counters? Opponent, are you okay? Is everything alright at home? Yeah, don't really necessarily want to attack. I guess I actually can get in with Illuna though. Or did I just miss lethal? I just missed lethal, didn't I? I just missed lethal. Yeah, well. Yeah, well. It's not as if they were gonna win. Good stuff. That was miserable. Wow. Countered, bounced, countered, countered, countered. Countered, countered, bounced. This is basically mono blue Brawl in a nutshell. Yeah, that's all it really does. So you've only got to play around 2 mechanics in Magic's history to beat mono blue. So as long as you can do that, doesn't really matter how many punts you make, as showcased by the amount of punts I made. So pretty good. Okay, we're in, and this looks like a really, really good hand for us on the play. So we've got a turn 1 Stonecoil Serpent. Then from there, we can actually go with a Sea Dasher Octopus, which gives us protection from multicolored and the 3/3 actually swinging in. They can't really do anything about that until the next turn, and by that point we'll have Migratory Greathorn, turning our toughness into 5, so we play around the 2 mana burn spells then. So yeah, this is really, really good. This is mostly what you'd hope for against a colour combination like our opponents. So unless they've got a shock there, they're in trouble. So we're going to get in. Opponent's got nothing apparently. So we will mutate over, turn it into a 3/3 trampling reach creature that draws us cards. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if our opponent scoops right now. They needed burn right there. And they did not have it. So, Sea Dasher Octopus over again. Now we've got a 4/5. We've got all the colours of mana. I'll get another blue, I guess, because we've got this Temple of Abandon. Swing in with a 4/5 Trampler that draws us cards. Glasspool Mimic. Not too bad. Yeah, I just don't know what they do about this. All of their removal is burn and fight-based, and I think by the time they get something out there, it's not going to be pretty. I guess they could go land Questing Beast. That would at the very least attack in and allow them to block. But from there I can probably just pivot over to something else instead. Like spare Glasspool Mimic, for example. Gonna go with a Gem Razor. So let's see. Lois Cobra. I'm aiming for Genesis Ultimatum, essentially. So I could do Arcane Signet. Play the land, I've got 2 mana. Doesn't really let me do anything. Let's swing first, see if they want to block. They don't. I figured that might be the case, so we get to see another card. It's going to be a Destiny Spinner. Alright. That works. Another land is totally fine. Produce some green. We can go Arcane Signet into Destiny Spinner. Pass the turn. Opponent's going to need something real good now. Made the land drop, so Rada off the top's not going to do too much. Terror of the Peaks is not bad, but when it's looking at what we've got, which is blue, 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 green, green, any colour here is actually enough to Genesis Ultimatum. Could even suit up the Illuna here as well. We'll just go with green. Produce some blue. Ultimatum. Land, 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 land. So this is 4, 5, 6. So we want to basically bottom anything we don't want Illuna to hit. This is green, green. Please. I think it's green, blue. There we go. So we've got blue, blue, green, anything else. I'll just do that. Mutate the... I guess the Lotus Cobra at this point. It's earned its stripes. Hit a Parcel Beast. Which we'll put into play. Just want bodies on board now. And we can offer a trade with the Greathorn. I think we're swinging with all. We don't really mind Terror blocking Destiny Spinner for 10 points, because it really just sets up lethal almost guaranteed at that point. Get to draw a card. It's a forest. So yeah, don't know what they can do. Our curve was just too good. We were basically goldfishing from turn 0, I think, based off of how nutty our hand was. There's a Rada. Can hit something for 3, but all of our board defends for at least 4 that matters anyway. Ooh, they do get to get rid of the Illuna there, nice. With a Clothis. But now I get to mutate again. And there's even a pouncing Shore Shark. So we want to Shore Shark up the Caryatid here. Over. We will bounce Clothis. Play a Forest. Mutate Shore Shark. Over. Bounce Terra. Leave our opponent with not enough blockers, and even some Illuna triggers, and a swing for lethal as well. Very nice. Yeah, that's the nut draw right there. Pretty good. Alright guys, well that is gonna do it for today's video. My overall verdict on this list is it's fine. Approaching on good. It's definitely a really entertaining deck to play though, that's what I will say about it. But it's definitely not tier 1. I'd probably call it in the, you know, mid to low tier 2 range if I had to place it into any category. So it's pretty fun. You can get a fair few wins with it. You can do your dailies with it quite happily as well. And yeah, that's really all you really need from a Magic deck. It's fun, 8 wins often enough, and you can do your dailies with it. So it's a reasonable grind deck if you want to do that in Brawl anyway. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well for more Brawl content in the future. And without further ado, gonna end it off here. Take care guys, have a good night.